what I think most men do today is they've been sold this protect and provide narrative, which do that if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying don't do it. Do that as if you want, but do it because you want to do it, not because you feel obligated. We take care of everyone else, and now he's burnt out, tired, depressed. Take care of yourself, because if that's your army, if you had your army and I have my army, and we're going to war, the objective is I take you out. If I take out you, then the war ends. If you take out me, the war ends. You take out the head, everything else falls. You are the head of your household, sir. You must take care of you. I understand you want to take care of her, but you must pour from a cup of abundance. If you don't have abundance, then you're gonna get to an empty cup, and you can't pour from an empty cup.
Right. Welcome to Sheila's Take, your go-to podcast for thoughtful insights on love, faith, health, fitness, relationships, and navigating today's challenges through a spiritual perspective. Join me, Sheila Dunbar, as we explore various aspects of life with a mindful and godly approach. Tune in for engaging discussions on all things meaningful and transformative. Welcome back to Sheila's Take, and today I have an extraordinary guest who is redefining what it means to live life on your own terms. Argustic Dunbar is a lifestyle coach, mentor, and advocate for healthy masculinity. He's dedicated to helping men create outstanding lifestyles filled with purpose, freedom, and fulfillment. With a no-nonsense approach, he empowers men to prioritize themselves, break free from societal expectations, and step into their full potential. So join me as we dive into an inspiring conversation about self-prioritization, financial freedom, and what it truly means to live a life of authenticity and impact. Welcome to the show, Augustic. How are you?
I'm doing well. That was great. That was great. You must have went through some trained speech class, because
Stop
the New
it.
York was only like 2% of that, and
It
like
was
the
only
rest.
2% of... Oh,
Yeah, because it sounded. That was a great introduction. Thank you so much, Sheila. I appreciate it.
I'm gonna tell you guys. I just want to say this, that before we were talking offline, and he was making fun of me. He was making fun of my New York accent. I don't think I have a New York accent, but he thinks I do, so I guess I do. So I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. So how
Mhm.
are you?
I am well. I am well. Today's Wednesday, which I call Wellness Wednesdays.
Ooh,
So I relax. I don't do a whole lot. You know, I'm doing great. I'm doing very
doing
good. How you
great.
doing?
Good. I'm doing good too. I'm blessed and highly favored. Also, I don't know if people realize that we have the same last name.
Yes. Yes.
However, we did not confirm if we're related, but I'm married, so Dunbar is my husband's name. So
Mm.
we'll look
To
at
be
that.
continued.
Well, to be continued. That's right. That's right. So I wanted to talk to you. You describe yourself as a lifestyle coach who gives men simple, no nonsense wisdom, right?
Hmm.
In an outstanding lifestyle. What does an outstanding lifestyle mean to you, and how do you help men achieve it?
So I'm going to do my best to answer the exact two
Okay.
questions that you asked. What does it mean? How do I help men achieve it?
Hmm.
To me, an outstanding lifestyle is lifestyle on your terms. One,
Hmm.
right? Like, it has to be a lifestyle that you enjoy. It's not the lifestyle that society tells you should enjoy, but the one you actually genuinely enjoy, the one
Yeah.
that you want for yourself. And second, I think a byproduct of that, because we're all unique, is a lifestyle where someone sees you living your lifestyle, doing
Hmm.
whatever it is, and they say, wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that was possible. Right? You set an example for someone. You made someone believe that which they want is possible by doing what you wanted to do.
What you
Does that
want.
make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So the example that I give is Roger Bannister, right? He ran the 4 minute mile, right?
Hmm.
And before then, everyone thought it was impossible. Humans just couldn't run that fast. He did it, and then since then, hundreds or maybe even thousands of people have done it, right? That's what I mean by outstanding. You set the example, you set the pace, and people are like, oh wow, I guess it is possible.
Yeah.
Let me go for my dreams, right? Now on the other end of that, you said, how do I help men get it?
Hmm.
I usually don't answer questions this concisely. I'm doing such a good job. I am so proud of myself. So on the other end, basically there's four concepts that I believe in, and
Hmm.
this is what I preach to men. One, gratitude. You have to have gratitude. Without gratitude, no matter what you have is not good enough, right? And that's sometimes hard for men who are achievers because you're always focusing on the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. By default, you're focused on what you don't have so that you can go get it, right? And that gap is called desire. But you also have to be grateful for what you do have, right? Even if you
Right.
feel as though you don't have a lot or things aren't going your way, you've got to be grateful for what you do have. And then after that, there's self-love, self-respect, self-acceptance.
Hmm.
Self-love, and my definition is self-investment, right? This is me doing things that make me better, associating with people who make me better. This could
Hmm.
be drinking water. This could
Right.
be wearing condoms. This could be a whole lot of things.
Hmm.
Doing things that are best for you to make the best version of you to tomorrow better, right? If you look at this in the terms of like Christianity or any religious spirit, if if God made me in His image, right, and my job is to be more Christ-like, that means that I am a God of some sorts, maybe a lesser God, but a God because I'm made in
Hmm.
a God's image. And my job is to become more Christ-like. My job is to become a better version of myself, to be
Right.
closer to what I'm capable of, right? So anything that falls in that vein to me is self-love, right? This is reading books, going
Hmm.
to seminars, um, being honest with yourself. A lot of guys are not, a lot of people are
Yeah.
not honest with
More
themselves,
honest. That's right.
right?
We're just men.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Women are delusional. They are. They are.
Well,
And
don't say that now. We
no, it's the truth.
listen
It's the truth.
now.
Delusion is a woman's superpower, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna get back to that.
yeah, see, I'm telling you, I say all kind of stuff like that. And then after self-love, there's self-respect. And
Yeah.
respect just means admiration. Treating yourself like someone who you admire,
Yeah.
right? And lastly, there's self-acceptance. Um, and that is just accepting who you are, including your nature. Most men do not accept their nature and they feel bad about their nature, right? I have a friend. I'm in gentleman's group. We call it the gentleman's roundtable, right? And it's just
Hmm.
in Dallas. They're all over the country, but I meet in the chapter in Dallas. A lot of good men, high earners, great character, family men, all that, right? And there's this young guy in there. His name is Big Country. That's what he called it. And he
Hmm.
dresses like he's straight out of the country. It's hilarious. And I heard him talking, and he was like, "Yeah, man, a real man, I feel bad because I'm not a real man yet, and the real man, um, settles down and picks one woman." And I'm like, "Man, who gave you that definition of real man? You really are a man. You just are shaming yourself for going against what's in your nature. That is not your nature. It'd be different if your nature was to have one woman, but you're a man. That's just not your nature. So if you want to have one woman, do that, but don't
Hmm.
shame yourself because you're finding it hard to live within your nature. That's like having a dog, and every time the dog barks, it gets sad. It's in the dog's nature to bark,
Right. Right.
right? That's like when we were living in a time period when a woman got her period, like she was shamed or she was stoned or whatever
Hmm.
they were doing. It's like she can't control that. That's her nature.
Right.
So
Right.
that's where self acceptance comes in.
Wait. So you're saying that because I gotta ask this question. So you're saying it's in a man's nature to have more than one woman? That's what you're telling me?
That is what I'm
Oh,
saying.
come on.
You can go Google that. And you know what's interesting? Not only is it in his nature, it also like what ethnicity he comes from, right? Also matters. So check this out. Now I can't this that you that's a biological fact. You can go look that up. But this next part, this is something I read on Google. I can't prove it, but I believe it's true. So they talk about like the European man, right?
Mhm.
And how like there's always more women than there are men at any given time. That's just what it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so there's not a one to one. Like even if all men had one woman, there would still be women left over, right? And
Yeah.
so I saw this documentary where they were talking about like, all right, what do we do with the leftover women, right? Like what does each group do with their leftover women, right? Now,
What do
mind
they?
you, why there are left more women than men, because men go out to war, men fight, they die. They're more the expendable of the
Mhm.
two genders, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so he said, like the European man, well, they had the wife class, and then they had I don't know what word to use on your show, but it was the
It it was the okay, let me say it. Was it
the
the
profession where you get paid to do sexual
hmm,
favors.
the late back in the day, you okay. Yeah.
There's that
Okay.
tier. There's
That's
some
it.
women were wives, and then the other women who there weren't men for, became of the whore class.
Mhm.
Okay, that's what the documentary said. That was not, and I use
Okay.
that word. I use the definition of the word, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And if you go look at African nations, they would make men carry two wives. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, I want two women. So I'm sure some of them did, but for a lot of them, and even in modern day African societies, it's like, no, you have the most resources. You are the most capable. Therefore, that is your other woman. I don't care how you feel. And it's an expectation, right? And so, yes, it's in his nature, but even though it's a part of our natures, how each culture dealt with that
Mhm.
math, right, was different.
Okay. All right.
Everything I say comes down to science and human nature.
Okay.
Everything.
I understand what you're saying. As a woman,
Not good to hear.
it's not good to hear that
hmm
or, men are not designed to have more than one woman. I just, but it is what it is. If you say that,
hmm
I can't believe that, but
I don't write the rules. I'm just out here, living in reality. That's
it
all
just
I'm doing.
it sounds like
Which is why I say it's a woman's superpower to be delusional.
well, because it's wait.
You can just say, you know what, I don't care. My man not like that. And then you just keep on going. Right?
No,
Like,
because you're saying pretty much it's because it's this is how it is. It's okay. It's okay for
would you want
men
your
to have
son to shame himself because of his nature? Something he has no control over.
no, but I don't want my son to go out. I don't want my son to go out with be in the have the mentality. Well,
hmm
I can have all the women I want. Any
Well, that's different.
want-
That's different. I'm only saying accept yourself and don't shame yourself. That's all
no,
I'm saying.
of
That's
course.
it. That's it. Everything else is that man's preference.
All right. So, we now you done made me forget my last question. Now you got me all riled
Oh,
up.
the question, the
Got me all
question,
riled up. Listen,
the
come
question
on.
was, what do I mean by outstanding life, and how do I
Right.
help men live it? And the answer was gratitude, self
Mhm.
love, self acceptance. So, I forgot one, but that was self
Um,
love. There you go.
you're passionate, right? I know you're passionate about pro man, and you believe it's an honor
hmm
in man, which
hmm
it is. Um, how do you define healthy masculinity in today's world?
Um. So I like your question, and I don't like the question. I
Oh,
like that you asked, "How do you?" As in, how do I? Because how
mhm,
I define it might be different than the next person,
right.
right? Here's what I will say. I will say, I'll say how not to define it.
Mhm,
Okay. I don't believe that it should be uh, um, based on how much you provide. Let me take a step. What I think most men do today is they've been sold this protect and provide narrative, which do that if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying don't do it. Do that as if you, but do it because you want to do it, not because you feel obligated, right? And men will, have you ever been on an airplane and they're like, hey, if the cabin pressure comes down, grab the mask,
mhm,
put it on yourself, then the children or whatever.
right.
Men do it backwards. We take care of everyone else. And now he's burnt out, tired, depressed. These are the things I'm hearing men message me when they're reaching out to me. Right. And I'm like, sir, take care of yourself, because if that's your army, if you had your army and I have my army and we're going to war, the
Mhm,
objective is I take you out. If I take out you, then the war ends. If you take out me, the war ends. You take out the head, everything else falls.
yeah,
You are the head of your household, sir. You must take care of you. I understand you want to take care of her, but you must pour from a cup of abundance.
mm,
If you don't have abundance, then you're gonna get to an empty cup, and you can't pour from an empty cup,
right.
right?
I do. That's something I always do say that you can't pour from an empty cup. However, I interviewed a young lady and she told me something once. And what she told me, she has a podcast called Behind Your Smile. And she told me something, and I'm like, that makes sense. Because I would say the same. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Mhm.
You know, it says, "My cup runneth over," in the
Mm-hmm.
Psalms 23, "My cup runneth
Mm-hmm.
over," which means everyone is supposed to get the overflow.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, they're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to get the overflow from
And
you.
they out here rusty. They cup ain't got nothing in it. Ain't nothing in it. Cause you don't, and you know what I think women do right that men don't? Women at least acknowledge their emotions. They acknowledge them.
Yeah,
And then they go have spa days. They pamper themselves,
yeah,
right? To me, that's self-love. And I'm saying, men, we need to start jumping on that self-love train.
yeah. But you don't think men do that already?
Absolutely not. Let me tell you, I get 2 to 3 massages per week. That's me. That's my self-love. Most men don't go get their nails did. They don't get manicures. They don't get pedicures. Did you
No,
know men are born with better, higher quality skin than women? But towards the end of the life, like women have better skin because they took care of it.
yeah,
Men don't take care of themselves.
yeah.
Okay. And so your husband, does he put lotion on? Do you see him put lotion on every
Mhm.
night? He might put lotion on every once in a while, right? He
I'm
lotion the
not gonna
parts of
say
the
that because
body
I ain't
that
talking
are gonna
about
be
my
visible.
husband. You see, hear this.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I know he don't because I love myself and I don't always put lotion on. Okay. When's the last
Yeah,
time you forgot to put on lotion?
I every day, every
See,
day, every
do you
morning,
see what
3
I'm saying?
times a day.
Small things.
Yeah.
Small things. So no, men don't take care of themselves to the level that women do. That's what I'm saying. See, I've never had this conversation. I'm gonna put some lotion on today. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that
Well,
today for
okay. Well,
sure.
I'm glad you're gonna do that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're gonna do that.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you give to men who feel stuck trying to meet other expectations?
Stop.
Just stop.
Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do. But in order to do that, you must first stop and ask yourself, what do I want to do? What outcomes do I want to reach? And then the real next question is, what kind of man do I need to become in order to obtain said outcomes? That's the real question. I had a guy, I did a coaching call a
Mhm.
couple of weeks ago, and this guy was he's recently divorced, like fresh out, 2 weeks
Yeah.
out of
Wow.
divorce, right? And he's a father of like two children, and if I recall, maybe they were 12, 13, somewhere in there. And his wife was having an affair on him, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, "So, yeah, you sound." I'm on the phone and I'm like, "Bro, you sound like you lack clarity." I'm like, "What do you want?" He's like, "I don't know." And then he was like, "Well, I've been married for 16 years and I had a whole life planned with her and now she's gone. And
Mhm.
I don't and now it sounds like you don't know what you want." He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "That's because." I said, "Okay, well, what kind of work are you doing?" And he told me where he worked at. And then I said, "How long you been there?" And he's like, 16 years. Wait, so you're telling me you met her, y'all got married, you started working that job to take care of your family. You didn't want that job. You never wanted that job. She started cheating. You caught her in the act because he had to
Mhm.
like drive up to the house. I'm like, why did you need to? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, you've been there for 16 years. You didn't want to be there. She's left. You don't know who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go, and now you're lost. He's like, yeah. So I'm like, bro, you've not been living your life for you. You were living her life. You were working where she wanted you to work. We're giving her what she wanted you to give her. And now that she's gone, you don't know who you are anymore.
But
And so,
but see, to me, it's when you get married, there's certain things that you are expected to do as a husband, just like there's certain things that are expected from me to do as a wife. And and
yes,
and, and there are gonna be things that you're not gonna enjoy doing. And there may be when you have why are you shaking your head no? Why are you shaking your head
because
no?
I'm hearing you say, I'm hearing what you say, and I agree. There are things that are expected. But
Right.
you gotta remember what I'm saying. I don't care about anyone's expectations other than your own. Because imagine you had a relationship, 2 different relationships. You had one with a man who was doing what you expected him to do, what was expected of him. And then you had a man who was doing what he wants to do. And in doing what he wants to do, he takes care of you. Which of those 2 relationships do you think would be better? The guy who's doing it
What he
solely because
wants to
he's
do
expected.
because he'll be happy.
There you go. So forget what they expect of you, because every everybody's relationship is different to some
Right.
degree. Like there is no relationship. There's no 2 relationships where they are exactly the same. Everyone is different a little bit, right? And I tell men that like you have the woman that you get, you have to mold her to you. She's never been with you before, right?
Yeah.
So you have to tell her what things you like, what things you don't like, and things like that. And so that being said, all relationships at some point, like they are unique. And that man has to be like, all right, this is me. And this is the kind of woman that I need because I know me and I know my outcomes and I know what I want. Right. And so in that, let me tell you how my relationships run. I I love women, especially black women, okay? Because I
Mhm.
love myself, and by extension, you are a reflection of me, therefore I love you. And now a lot of women are a waste of time. And so I don't spend time with them. And the ones
Okay.
who are worth spending time with, they come in and they're pleasant, they're feminine, they're happy and all that. And then they're doing things for me because that's my requirement. Like you must be doing something. It's not just I don't need just good feelings and butterflies in my stomach. I got that by myself. So
Mhm.
there must be value being provided. And once that value is provided, I know me, I'm a grateful person. So I'm just like, baby, thank you. I am so appreciative. And not a lot of people say thank you, right? And I'm willing to thank you with dinner, or willing to thank you with words or a card. I'll thank you in whatever way makes you gets your juices flowing. Thank you. And tomorrow I'm gonna need you to do it again. Right. And it's sustainable. Who doesn't like being told thank you? I appreciate you. You're so amazing. Everyone
Right.
likes that, right?
Especially if
And
it's
it's
authentic.
free. And it's free.
Especially if it's authentic.
Yep. 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 And what most men do, they do it wrong. They try to buy their woman's happiness. Right. And you cannot, there's only so many things you can buy. You're
But
better off
yeah.
paying her an appreciation. It's cheaper.
But in my years, um, and I've had a
Oh, now you got to say how old you are. Now that you said my years, you said it. I didn't say it. I'm just kidding. Keep going.
you know what? You gotta look back at some of my old podcasts.
Uh-huh.
I'm tired of telling how old I am. And I'm deep. I'm tired of that. But
It's
I
us.
I've been in, quite a few relationships,
Mhm.
and I'm going on my 25th year of being married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And one of the things in the years um before my marriage, leading up to my marriage, and even during my marriage, I realized that men have an issue with communication.
I don't think that's true. I don't
I
think that
You don't think that's true?
I don't think it's true. I understand why you say that though. I think it's more true to say men don't communicate the way women communicate. And so because it's not the same, you're like, it's something wrong with him. That's like me saying, I think women got a problem with picking up heavy stuff. No, they just can't pick up heavy stuff like me. Only so much. I'm assuming you mean with words, right? Like feelings, words. Okay,
Yeah.
let me tell you, as a man who loves to communicate with feelings and words,
Mhm.
it's overrated. It's overrated. It's overrated. It don't solve nothing. And a lot of guys, this is not me, but I know there's a big population of men who feel as though they said something or they shared something with a woman at some point and it was
Mhm.
used against them. It was
Yeah.
thrown in their face,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I'm not that kind of guy. I've not experienced that, but I also don't throw things in women's face. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think these men, they feel that way because they did it and their woman is a reflection of them. And so she
Right.
did it to them. But that being said, I have all kind of car gangs where I like use with my wife and we talk. And I was realizing it was fun. I had fun. I had fun. But I
Mhm.
just find it so much more fun when she just does as I ask and say, "Yes, daddy, thank you." That I find that just as fun. Like I had a friend ask me, he was like, "Do you think a woman can be too submissive?" And I was like, "There's no such thing. There is no such thing. There is no such
You
thing
are
as a
like
woman who's
you
too
are you know what? You got
there's
my
no such thing. There's no such thing.
all right.
Do you think there's a such thing as too much money? No such thing. No such thing. No such thing. I just don't believe it. Now, let me see. If I
Yes,
experience a woman being too
there is
submissive,
such
then I'll let you know.
no,
Till
but
this day, I ain't experienced it.
you haven't.
Not too submissive. Too mm-mm. Submissive, yes. Um, and I know it's a dirty word now, submissive. I like to say cooperative.
I don't think it's a well, I like that word better, but I don't
Yeah.
think submissive is a dirty word. I mean, if you're with someone and you
Hmm.
love each other and you want to do for each other,
Yes. Yes.
not about being submissive. It's just the fact that that's
And you're
how
with the
to
guy
me
you
that's how
like.
you
That's what you
mhm,
do.
that yeah, and that's to me that's how you show love when you're
Would you agree that most of your single friends are with men who they don't actually like, and that's their issue? Because if you like them, you would be willing to do things. We can go to the next question. It's it's really that simple in my head.
You know what? I'm the interviewer here.
All right, you're right.
I'm the one doing the interview. But no, I don't think, first of all, I don't have a lot of single friends.
Good for you.
Um, but I don't I don't think so. I mean,
You're doing something wrong.
most of the women that I know now, they're at a certain age where they're just not, they're at a point where they're not going to, um what's the word? They're not going to
Change.
settle. Most of them, they're not going to what say
I hear you.
settle.
I hear that.
They're used to a certain type of
Yep.
a lifestyle.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, um, because they're older women, they're not
Mm-hmm.
young women who. And I'm not saying, like, because I see some of these things, and I saw something the other day where I saw it on Instagram where this young girl, she was dating a guy, and he says, "Okay, hon, okay, sweetheart, I'm gonna send you today. Lunch is on me. Here's $30."
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Did you
What were
see
your
that?
thoughts on that? Yep, I saw that. And she was like, you can
And
have
she's
it
like,
back.
"You
I don't
keep
need
that."
your
I'm
money.
thinking $30.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna do with $30 for lunch.
You know what the difference between you and her is? A lack of gratitude. She has a lack of gratitude.
Come on,
Entitlement.
entitlement. Yes.
Entitlement. Now, in her defense, that demographic, I'm just telling you my experiences. Okay. I'm just telling my experiences. If they're young and they're very, very attractive, they're likely either an OnlyFans model or they were a dancer at some point or they are a dancer. And so those women legitimately, I know a young lady who gets flown out by like former Dallas uh football players, like retired, wealthy, very well known. And I'm like, what did you do when he's like, she was like, I don't know, I didn't do anything. I didn't touch him. He just likes being around me. So it's like to them, she's settling for $30. I'm not settling for that. I get flown out by a prince. Why would
No.
you say, why would you? So they
But I
just
mean,
out of options.
but my thing is, obviously, I don't know, because obviously, if he's sending her $30, she knows what he has. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He knows
Mm-hmm.
what he has. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, why even bother with him if you know he ain't gonna satisfy you?
Mm-hmm.
You know. But let's move on, because I know you
Yes.
spoke
Yes.
bit on how to get into the tech world and
Yes.
scale the income to $250,000 while
Mm-hmm.
working less
Mm-hmm.
than 20 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about that. How do you help with that?
Yes. Thank you for getting us back on track. This is fun.
Mm,
So yeah, so I do a simple type of well, let me make sure. You said how do I help men get I
yeah.
help them get into tech, right? What a lot of people who are trying to get into tech are doing wrong is they're really fearful and they spend all this time and this money and this energy like learning skills, learning skills, learning skills, learning skills, which is good.
Mhm.
But bro, it only takes one skill. You just need to learn one skill. Just something that you can go into a marketplace and say, "Hey, I have this skill. I can solve this problem, pay me for it," right? You just need one skill. And
Right.
then from there, the next skill you need to learn is how to actually go about landing the job. And it takes people skills. It takes being able to interview well. I tell people that interviewing is a spiritual game because if you're not confident, you're going to show up as someone who's not confident, even if you know what you're talking about and what you're doing, right? And so I have my simple 4-step process that I walk each and every one of my clients through. And this is how you really get any job in tech, but really any job in the world if you really think about it.
Mhm.
One, you learn a technical skill. Okay, you
Okay.
get really good at something, right? Preferably is a skill that not a whole lot of people know about and that is paying well and the marketplace is going up. I
Mhm.
have a good friend or I have a cousin who he got into Android development way back. Like I think Google bought Android back in 2005. He got into Android development in like 2008. No one knew what it was. No one heard about it. He just spent all his time doing it. And then once Android became a big thing, he's a senior developer. And people have to pay him to get the things they want, right? So one, learn a skill, preferably a skill that the market is deeming valuable that's going to go up in value over time.
Mhm.
The second thing you have to do is you have to get your digital footprint right. Okay. We live in the digital age now. Your first impression used to be made face to face, shaking
Mhm.
hands.
Yeah.
Today, though, I literally just did an interview with a hiring manager. He said, I Google every candidate. I look up their
I
LinkedIn.
saw that. I
I look
saw
at their
that.
Facebook. Yeah. And I'm just like, duh. I don't,
I
but I
s-
guess people, they need somebody to tell it to them. Yes, you got to clean that stuff up.
I
Okay.
saw that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Third thing is you must learn the proper social skills. You must become a people person. You must be the kind of guy where they are thinking to themselves, man, I'd love to get a beer with him after the
Mhm.
interview is over with. I go into an interview and I make a friend. These
Yes.
guys go into interviews and they are just so awkward. They're great. They're smarter than me. They just
Mhm.
suck with people. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, a computer's not going to hire you. It's going to be a person, right?
Right.
So you must work on your personal skills. And then four, you must apply for a lot of jobs. It's a numbers game. There's no way around it. You must apply for a lot of jobs without losing enthusiasm along the way. And so in my program RPA University, um, we are the first and only program that's working with you until you are employed. So we don't just teach you a skill and kick you out. We're with you until you get employed. Okay. We have a leaders board where we track all job applications and we cheer each other on and we compete and I make fun of them. It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
such a good time.
What are some of the biggest challenges men kind of face when trying to achieve that financial freedom that you've noticed?
Biggest challenges. Honestly, I think it comes down to those that self-love,
Mhm.
self-respect, self-acceptance. I
Really?
think that's really what it comes down to because think about it. Like, I know men who like they don't iron their shirts. They don't care what they look like. Like, yeah, they're okay they're doing well financially, but they don't care how they look. Right? And I asked them like, "Hey, if you had a child, would you just let them walk outside looking any kind of way?" Well, no. Why? Because I care about it. So you care more about how that child looks than you love that child, right? So then to some degree you don't love yourself. A little bit, right? Just at least
Mhm.
you don't care. You don't love yourself enough to put time into your who you are and how you present yourself to the world. And
Mhm.
I also think that like men lack courage. Men lack courage. They
Mhm.
promise they do. And courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway, right? Let me turn this. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway.
Mhm.
A lot of men get to the point, at least where like from what I've seen, they have these limiting beliefs. They have these things about themselves that they've always thought. They have these unchallenged beliefs like, oh, I'm super humble. I don't believe in humility. I think it's great for women. I think men, I think we need ego. Um, and they have these other beliefs like I'm not smart enough, I can't do it. They have these fears like, what if I invest in myself? They don't invest in themselves. Self-love is self-investment. That's
Yeah.
spending money on
Yeah.
yourself. That's instead of trying to go the free way, the cheap way, pay someone to help you get where you say you want to go faster.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, I'm afraid. What if I fail? What are people going to think about me? What are my friends going to say? Right. It's all of that instead of finding someone who's done what you're trying to do and paying them and saying, please teach me.
Right, right. Yes. Let me ask you this. What's one fear you had to overcome to get to where you are today? And how did you do it?
That is a great question, and I'll tell you the most recent one. So, I mean, you've had this, you're having this conversation with me in real time, right? I
I
say a lot of um controversial things, right?
okay.
And my biggest fear was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to say something. I'm gonna tell the truth one day on the line, and no somebody's gonna not like it. I'm gonna get canceled. I'm gonna lose my job. No one's gonna want to do business with me. And I had a mentor who, shockingly, I pay money to, and he was like, "Look, bro, you're already doing it. You're
Yeah.
doing it. You're successful. You're worried about the worst case scenario, and if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. But like he's like, bro, you're like me. Like you want freedom. You're passionate about helping people. You
Yeah.
have to go all in. And if you do go all in, the amount of money that you're gonna earn doing this is gonna be nothing. Like this is gonna be what you're currently earning at your job is gonna be nothing
Mhm.
compared to what this is going to pay you. So just go all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
that was a real conversation. And
that's some good
he told
advice.
me to sign up for Pod Match. So without that conversation, you and I don't meet.
That's right.
Yep.
Thank you, Pod Match.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's so true. But that's like great advice. You if you can't be afraid. One of the best advice that I received was from a good friend of mine before I started this podcast. And I was like, I want to start this podcast and this and this and this and this
Mhm.
and this. And I'm like, but I'm afraid. She's like, just do it afraid. Do it afraid.
Yes.
Because if
Courage.
you're afraid, then
What were you afraid of?
what you know, just not being perceived, you know, uh the way I looked. I mean,
Mhm.
because
What somebody was gonna say?
that's very, yeah, it's very intimidating.
The expectations of others. She
Yes.
was afraid of, oh,
All right. I saw what you did there. I saw what you did there.
that was hilarious. That was
I saw
hilarious.
I saw what you did there. All right. You know what? Whatever. Whatever. And so, but yeah, so it's like sometimes you just gotta go out on the limb and just do it, and
Mhm.
not worry about what people think. And that's where I'm at now. I don't care what people think.
Can I tell you something else I learned?
Yes.
And if you disagree with this, let me know.
Mhm.
I don't think there's any scenario where it benefits anyone to care
Mhm.
about what people think. Do
Yeah.
you disagree or do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
And
I
so
agree
once I
with
learned that, it was like I might as well do what I want to do.
I agree with that. There's one thing I did, I think it was a year and a half ago. I decided I was gonna be in my season of no. I was
Okay.
gonna
Great
I
season, wasn't it?
It was a awesome telling. That was the best thing ever. Like, I did what I said no when I don't wanna do something, and I realized that no is a complete sentence. So, yeah, I don't want
Mhm.
wanna do it, I'm not gonna
Mhm.
do it.
Mhm.
So then
Mhm.
I went to the season of yes, doing things that I normally wouldn't do to take me out of my comfort zone.
Oh, okay.
It's a lot of things that I've learned it even through my years. It's like you're constantly learning. I learned
Yes.
when I was in my 20s, I thought I learned so much. And when I hit my 30s, I thought I learned so much. And when I hit my 40s, I was like, all right, I'm the best. You know?
Mhm.
And I now I'm sliding out of my 50s, and I'm like, come on.
You were sliding out of your 50s?
Yeah.
No way. What? I'd have said 29
Oh,
at the
stop
oldest.
it.
At the
Stop
oldest.
it.
Gotta give her a compliment. You gotta go way lower. You
Stop
gotta
it.
go way lower. But I definitely did not expect you to say sliding out
Let
of
me
your
tell you. Let me tell you. I will hit I'm gonna because I'm proud of it.
Are you gonna
I'm
say it now?
gonna I'm gonna be 60 this year.
Okay. I like it.
And I feel great. I work out. I'm in the best shape of my life,
Mhm.
I'm doing things I never thought I would
You're
do.
wiser than you ever have
I
been.
am. But I'm getting wise, and I'm not afraid. The thing is, I'm not afraid to learn.
Mhm.
I'm There's some people who are younger than me that can teach me stuff. There's some people
Mhm.
than me. I'm still learning. As long
Mhm.
as I have breath in my body, life in my body, I'm gonna learn something. Now that we talked too much about me, let's get back to you.
Okay.
But yeah, what's your advice for men who kind of feel like they've lost touch with their true selves and don't even know what they want anymore?
The first step is awareness. You have
Mm-hmm.
to be aware that, okay, I don't know who I am, right? Here's what I'll tell them. Go ahead and have your midlife crisis. Just
Yeah.
do it now.
Yeah.
Just do it now. Do you know what a midlife crisis is? Let me tell you, we live in a lifetime, we live in a world where a lot of what men's nature is coined bad. A midlife crisis,
Mm,
right, is when a man gets, married or gets in a relationship young. He's been in this relationship 20, 30, 40 years or whatever.
yeah.
He's at a point where he doesn't appreciate her, she don't appreciate him. He's getting up, going to work. They're not having sex anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, what am I doing all this for? I'm doing all this protecting and providing, and I'm not getting my need,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so then he starts to revert, like he put all his dreams aside when he was a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that 18-year-old version of him still has dreams and all, and now it starts coming back to the forefront,
Mm,
right? And now he goes and buys the car he wants. And if he's not getting in his at his house, he starts messing with other women. And it's
yeah.
just like, sir, you should have just did what you wanted to do from day one. Why wait?
Well,
Why wait this 20, 30, 40 year
yeah.
gap where
Yeah.
you're miserable doing what you're expected to do? Just do what you want and be honest and upfront about it from day one.
Yeah.
And let that woman decide if she wants to be there, right? Because if I want you to be here and you want to be here, like that's the perfect match.
Right. That was something in relationships that I always put to the forefront in my relationships. And I had a lot of relationships. I'm not gonna lie. When I
Yeah.
enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself growing up, and
Enjoy yourself.
and you
I
know,
just
and one of the things was be honest with me. Just be honest with me. I'm not. If you say you don't want to be with me, fine. I'm not gonna yell. I'm not gonna scream. There's always someone else, and that's the way men
Do
always
you
probably think,
but do you know why it's hard for men to be honest?
'cause they don't wanna because they don't wanna lose something. I
You
feel
go.
yeah, I feel that
Yep.
they wanna be the ones to, they wanna see what they can get, and then if
Mhm.
they don't want it, then they wanna be the ones to say, "Okay, well, I don't wanna deal with it. I don't wanna."
I don't think it's that though. It's
What?
here so because me and my wife have had this conversation, right?
Mhm,
I had a sugar baby relationship and a bunch of other stuff. We're probably gonna talk
mhm,
about that in another episode, okay? We ain't got time for that. But one of the things that she would always say is like, "Okay, you're doing this with her. It must
mhm.
mean there's something about me that's off, or
Yeah,
there must mean what I'm. It must mean that there's something wrong with her, and that's why I'm looking elsewhere. Because that's how women do it. When a woman starts to have eyes somewhere else, it's because
yeah.
there's something he's doing wrong. But again, our natures are different. So when a woman she assumes her nature on the man, I'm not trying to replace anybody. I like to add in addition. It's nothing. No, you're great. If you weren't great, you would not be here. Let me
Mhm.
bring in more. This has nothing to do with you. I would be doing this even if you weren't here. So whether you are here or you're not here, I'm going to do this.
You're just adding to it. You
Exactly.
want extras, you want extra.
Exactly. But and then it's funny what we've known to at this point she don't care. She don't question me. She don't because she understands that most of them just come and go.
Yeah,
Right? All women are not wives.
yeah.
They're not. And so when they meet a guy like me, is like, look, I don't have a lot of time to waste. I don't do disrespect. I don't do belittle. I love me. Okay. So you're going to have to talk to me in such a way that is with love, or you will not be talking to me.
Mhm.
Most of them, they're not used to being talked to like that. They say something stupid. All right, I'm gone. Right. And so she's like, oh, they just come and go. I'm not gonna stress myself out over that.
Yeah.
Right.
But
And
wait,
so
so your wife is okay with that?
I just told you the whole thing. She's not stressed about it. She used to be. She's not
Yeah,
stressed about it. And
yeah.
so I'm also building what I call the good girl gang, right? Now this
Okay.
is a flock of elite women who they're basically like, look, I'm tired of being a corporate daddy. Okay. I want to be told what to do. I'm tired of making all my money. I want to be led. I just want it to be by a guy who's worth following, right?
Mhm.
And they want to be in their soft girl era and all the other stuff. And one of the things that sadly they're going to have to learn is if all guys are not worth following, let's say there's two kind of guys.
Well, yeah.
One is worth following, the other one is not. There's
Mhm.
only two kind of guys there,
Yeah.
right? Most of the men worth following already have people follow. There's already other women. Now, if you want your own man to yourself that nobody else wants to follow, you can, and then you're gonna realize why nobody else wants them. And so you might as well go follow a guy who's already taking care of somebody, who's already got a structure and the standards, like who doesn't need you, who
But what
wants
you
you.
share? You
This
know
is
what?
the thing. You don't have to. You can go get that guy that don't nobody want. And then eventually you're not gonna want him either. You either go build a man or you can go get you a man that's been built already. But here's the thing, once you build a man, he's gonna want more women anyway. So the end result is the end result. And here's what I believe. I just believe that men need each other, women need each other. I don't
Mhm.
believe that I am capable of being the best version of myself without a woman. And I don't believe that a woman is capable of being the best version of herself without a man. I think they can do well.
Mhm.
I think I could do well, but I think that that synergy of what we could do together is much more than what either of us could do separately, if that makes sense. So I'm not telling all women to go out here and get a man and share a man. I'm saying if you want to see the best version of yourself, then I believe that's required. If you just want to kind of get by and do what you want to do, move to the beat of your own drum, pay your own bills for the rest of your life, take care of yourself,
Mhm.
move in with your girlfriends. If that's what you want to do, then do that. But I just don't think that's the best version of you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
These are
I
just
I
my thoughts.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Advice. A comment came to mind. That's not advice. Spend money to get in rooms where there's information and people that you otherwise wouldn't meet because everything just speeds up.
Yeah.
Like, don't try to. I have friends who are like, they don't want to hire anybody. They want to do it all themselves, and it's like, no, I want to spend the money, save the time. That's what I would say. Spend the money, save the time.
Take the time.
because you
Okay.
don't get your time back.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um,
And like who likes you. That's also what I would say. Don't no chasing women. Don't do that. Like who likes you.
don't chase women.
No, like who likes you.
What's a book or podcast or resource you'd recommend to men who want to grow personally and professionally?
My favorite book. I read this book at least once a year. I was
Mhm.
actually listening to it today. Actually, it's called "Secrets of the Millionaire Mind" by T. Harv Eker.
Like who?
T. Harv Eker. So T, and then his middle name is Harv, Harv.
Mm-hmm.
His last name Eker, Eker.
Okay.
Yes, that is one of my favorite books, and he just makes it black. Let me tell you, I love black and white. Okay, I know the world is not always black and white, but
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the times it is. And so he has what he called the wealth files, and he simply says, "Hey, rich people think this way, or people think this way."
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And
Yeah.
he says that poor people feel like promoting yourself is bad, and they think things like money is the root of all evil, right? And he's like, well, if you want to have that belief, you can. You just can't have that belief and be rich. No one, there's no such thing as a rich victim. No one cares that you got a scratch on your yacht, right? Like
Yeah.
no one cares.
Mhm.
So don't focus on the negative. Think like a winner. Those other things. So that is my favorite book. I listen to it once a year. I just recommended it to a client, and I never recommend somebody something that I'm not doing or haven't done myself. So I said,
Right.
hey, it's time that I start picking this book back up again.
Mm. What legacy do you hope to leave through your work?
Oh, that's a good one. That is a very good one. I honestly, at this point, maybe I'm 33, so maybe in 20 or 30 years, my answer would be different. I'm not really too much concerned about legacy. I
No.
I I think that I'm here. I'm in life now. I need to enjoy it now,
Mhm.
and I believe that my job is to become the best version of myself and then present that version to the world, right?
Mm.
And the legacy that's going to be left is going to be the legacy that is going to be left. To be
Mhm.
totally honest with you, I'm gonna switch my answer up a little bit. I'm competing with Hugh Hefner. Okay, Hugh Hefner was that guy. I
Oh,
don't care what anybody says. Every man would give an arm or a leg to be Hugh Hefner for 24 hours. Now
I
I don't
bet
know
they
the extent.
would.
I don't know the extent of all what he was
You
doing.
wanna walk around in pajamas and everything too?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if I want that many women living with me. That's a lot living. But y'all can come over to the pool party. Yeah, we can all 200 of y'all or something like that. But and the whole thing is I want it to be like they are coming because they see the value. They
Yeah.
understand that like yeah, there's 199 other people here, but like I legitimately believe this is what's best for me. I
Mm.
believe that through him I can become the best version of myself. Or and I tell a lot of women this, I'm probably not your man, but I can help you get ready for
Yeah.
your guy because you don't want to fumble him when you get there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's
Um, that's kind of going to be the legacy. All I want to do is this. I want to do what I want to do. I want to live a lifestyle that I like, and I want to be an example of what's possible when you do what you want to do. You focus on your character. You do what's best for you, and through proximity, everybody's lives gets better for you through you, right? So
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
have a son, right? If my confidence is only a 2 out of 10, then he gets a father whose confidence is a 2 out of 10. But
Mm.
if I focus on my confidence, he now gets a father whose confidence is a 10 out of 10, which is better for him and everybody else around.
Mhm.
So I believe that self love is self investment, and that we all need to be selfish. I need to do what's best for me, and the women need to do what's best for them. And if you think what's best for you is to be in proximity to me, then do what's required to be in proximity to me. And if you think it's best to be alone, I don't really think that's best. But if that's what you think is best, then do that.
I
Right.
mean,
But
some
I
women are happy being alone.
they've
Um,
settled. They've settled. They've settled being alone. And here's the thing. I don't blame them. Most of these guys are not worth being with and following. So, but I also think there's a big difference between doing what's best for you versus doing what you're most comfortable with.
mhm.
And I think they're doing what they're most comfortable with. But if you have a history of picking the wrong guy, the wrong guy, the wrong guy, and then say, I'm done with guys. I would be done with guys you keep from the guys you're picking.
I mean, if you're picking the wrong guys,
Mm-mm.
it
And
could
who's
be.
supposed to help you pick? Your father.
Yeah.
Your father. That's who's supposed to help you, right? But if you didn't have that, then I get it. Come call me daddy. I help you. I got you.
I bet you live. I bet
This is
you
how it
live.
is. That's how it is. And I love women. You know, my mother's a woman.
And your wife. Thank God. Right?
Of course, absolutely,
Let me ask
absolutely.
you, Augusta, um, what are you grateful for?
You know, every morning I write down what I'm grateful for. Every
Mhm.
morning. Um, I am grateful for the fact that like, you know, the music they play during massages,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm grateful that music exists. I don't care what's going on. That music come on and I'm just happy. I'm mellow. I'm
Mhm.
peaceful. I'm grateful for that for the fact that massages exist. I could have been born before massages was invented, right? I'm super grateful
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm grateful that I am who I am. I'm grateful that I love myself, that I like myself, that I have mentors who make things easier for me. I'm grateful. Do you know I also call myself AD the Kingmaker. And people are like, why is that? Because kings didn't have running water. They didn't have AC. They didn't have electricity.
Mhm.
They didn't have anything. I am grateful that I live a lifestyle better than any king has ever lived in history because I live in America and there's abundance here,
Yeah.
right? I'm grateful that I live in a neighborhood that is safe and we don't have to worry about crime. I could go on and on for days.
Hmm. Well, I thank you for for reminding us that it's not only okay to be essential to put, I'm going to say ourselves, but when you talk
Mhm,
about men, to put men to
mhm,
put themselves first and to
mhm,
embrace the honor of a man being a man,
mhm.
and to build a life that aligns with your deepest values, your journey and your work, e- encouraging and changing lives. And I know my listeners are walking away with like actionable
Oh, yes,
steps,
mate.
actionable steps, and thinking, "Oh my God, who is this man?" But no, but you dropped some really good gems. I may not agree with all of them,
Mhm, mhm.
but um, you dropped some really good gems, and y listeners are gonna walk away with actionable steps to start transforming their lives, their own lives. To everyone who's listening, if Augustic's message resonated with you, take those first steps. Prioritize yourself, chase your dreams, and remember you are capable of creating a life that's not just good, but outstanding, right?
Outstanding. What's your way
Outstanding.
with the words? I love it. I love it.
Outstanding. You have any last final words you want to say? And
Absolutely. Go
go
follow
ahead.
me on all my social medias.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Let
Um,
put it out. Put
Instagram.
it out there.
Yes, Instagram. You can find me at the RPA guy. That is THE, R as in Robert, P as in Paul, A as in Apple, guy, GUI on Instagram, the RPA guy. You can also find me on on YouTube at the RPA guy. And then I also have a podcast that I run called King's Corner that you can find on YouTube, where I talk all about the good girl gang and I talk about, why you want to respect yourself, self-love. All that is masculinity. So if you're looking for the tech stuff, you can find that on YouTube or Instagram at the RPA guy. And if you're looking for the masculinity and relationship stuff, that can be found on Instagram or on YouTube at the King's Corner Podcast TV.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Augustic, for being such an inspiring guest. And thank you for tuning in to Sheila's Take, everyone. Until next time, keep striving, keep growing, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, remember to embrace the journey, build lasting connections, and step boldly into all that life has in store for you. I'm your host, Sheila Dunbar. Blessings to you.